Duke fans, and welcome to episode 763 of the Duke Basketball Roundup. I am your host for this episode, I guess. I'm Sam Klein. Uh, I used to live here. I don't anymore. I'm just back for a visit. Uh, nice to nice to be back, back in my old home and with some of my old friends and one new one at least for me. So I'll make sure to introduce the whole gang here, and then we can get started because we have a very busy day here if I am present. So I've got Jason Evans. What's up, Jason?
I am excited for what we are about to embark upon. I believe this is the 12th annual stats game.
And as I heard on your most recent episode or one of your most recent episodes, my performance in here is not so strong. So I really, for being so insistent on keeping a tight hold on this tradition, I really should perform better. Is my takeaway.
I mean, you're facing off against two of the great predictors of Duke basketball of all time. So I don't
Truly,
blame you for not being.
it's an honor. It's truly an honor. Donald Wine is also here. What's up, my friend?
It is great to have you back home here, Sam. Also, Jason, for everyone out there, the trophy is in the mail, so you should be able to get that soon.
Thank you.
Enjoy it while it lasts. And Scott
It'll be
Rich
here
is
for a
here.
while. Let's just be clear. It'll be here for a long, long time.
I'm hoping
Scott,
I'm hoping you pay the price that I had to pay to ship it to you very soon. So
Scott Rich is also here to try to claim his first DBR stats game crown, and also this is the first time that he and I are meeting. So Scott, nice to meet you, and nice to see you, and best of luck against the two juggernauts and me.
I'm glad to have had the opportunity to part-time partially fill your grand shoes that you have left here, sir. I'm hoping that I can. It doesn't sound like I have too big of a bar to meet when it comes to the stats game to fill your shoes, but hopefully I've been doing an okay job in the other elements of podcasting.
Most certainly, and all of a sudden we have a show that's half New Englanders,
oh yeah,
which is so bizarre relative to where I guess where our geographic nexus was when we started this show. It's moving, unlike the rest of the population, it's moving more north and east. So isn't that weird? Gentlemen, it's late October. Season opener next week against Texas is just a few days away. The two exhibition games are in the books, which means that it is time for my favorite tradition here at the DBR, which of course is the stats game. If you are joining us for the first time on this part of the program, first of all, hi, I'm Sam. I do the stats. Nowadays, I pretty much only do the stats game, or I guess occasionally if I have too many drinks and an awesome basketball game happens, then I make occasional appearances here. I think that's pretty much the only reason that I come back at this point. Probably best for everyone's sake, I would say. But the way that this game works, this is our annual season preview. We do this preview as you probably heard in recent episodes by predicting a variety of stats about individual players and about the Duke basketball team overall. This serves as our official welcome to the regular season. We always do this after the exhibition season is finished. Nowadays that Duke plays real games during the exhibition season. I mean, I know you guys did a whole recap on the Tennessee game the other day. To me, that felt like a real game. We were, down the stretch, it was very tight, and John Shire was deploying all of his latest in-game tactics to try to hold on to a late lead, which of course was a challenge, one of the few challenges for Duke last season. So it was nice to see them come away with a great road victory, and it means that we have much better fodder for what we're going to talk about here, because I feel like in years past, Duke would play a couple exhibition games against some Division II teams. They'd start the season, in the pre-Champions Classic, pre-awesome early season tournament years. They'd start off with a bunch of cupcakes. We wouldn't know anything about this team until, maybe the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Not the case anymore. We already know, I feel like, a lot about this team, and we will learn a lot more about this team and all of its great, great potential here just in the next few weeks as the season gets started. So with that, any questions on how the stats game works, gentlemen?
no, I think the one thing is we have gone from stabs in the dark kind of guesses in this stats game to this year. I feel like maybe they're a little bit more educated based on the fact that we had two high profile exhibitions to kind of consider when making our decisions.
Yeah, it really changes the whole atmosphere. And the fact that we have a fourth guesser also means that we're not going to do as much penning in of each other's guesses.
I was about to say that the Price is Right strategy is probably going to be a little bit more challenging with me here now.
It
$1, Bob.
it introduces a lot more game theory that we weren't using before, but now we can pretend even less.
I will say the game theory that was used last year was ironically, on the tiebreaker because Jason kept bringing you on the show so that he eventually won via that tiebreaker. So
because our tiebreaker
insider training, the FBI is coming, Jason.
Yeah,
it's all right. I engaged in tiebreaker tomfoolery the year before when we were doing the over under on when I was going to turn the heat on, and I did have a now 2 years old follow up to that discussion, which is that a few months ago, well, I got married this summer. I guess this is life updates. I got married, and then my wife and I bought a house down in the suburbs, and I say down because we now live in Rhode Island, not in Massachusetts anymore. And let me tell you, turning on the heat in your house in the suburbs is a totally different thing than turning on your heat in a high-rise apartment building. Just a wildly different experience. Donald, don't leave. Don't do it.
Well, our heat's already on because it turns on in mid-October anyway.
Yes,
so
I assume you pay very little for it.
I pay nothing for it. That's correct. Yeah.
It is a whole new ball game out there, folks. For me, all the homeowners are listening and cackling to themselves.
I mean, yeah, I've had a house for 30 plus years. So yeah, dude,
man, it's great, but it sucks. That's my take on that. So anyway, the heat's been on for like a month here. So no guessing on when I get to turn the heat on this winter. Anyway,
we're currently trying to make this episode 2 hours long. Is that the goal?
That's the goal. That's what we're doing. Speaking of which, let's get started with the stats game. So we guess all the categories, we write them all down to the best of our ability. We track them throughout the season. And at the end of the season, I'll come back and we'll see how we did. Probably not great because that's how these things go. When Jason says that, he and Donald are great guessers, that only means that they're great relative to me. And so, I don't know if there's a clever idiom about, great minds think alike. What does that mean about all the dumb ones? So with that, let's get going. Our first set of categories are unchanged every year. We always guess who's going to lead Duke in each of the big five statistical categories. We're going to do points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. If you'll recall from last season, we'll do a little bit of callback to last season. We will have an all new set of winners in each of these categories because last year Cooper Flagg swept the board with the five categories, and he's now starring for the Dallas Mavericks. So not available to win any of these awards this year. Donald, I will let you kick things. Actually, Jason was the winner last year. Yes.
Yes,
Jason was the winner last year. Jason, you will be getting us started. Who will lead Duke in points per game this season?
I suspect that all four of us will say the same name. It will be Cameron Boozer. Do you want me to give the point total?
Might as well hit me with the point total now, just so we get it.
Yeah.
over
so really quick, is anybody raise your hand if everyone's picking Cam?
Okay. We're picking Cam
Boozer.
100%.
So I looked at Marvin Bagley as a little bit of a comp here. Highly touted, a guy who put up big statistical numbers. Bagley averaged just right at 21 points per game. I think Boozer's going to be even a little bit above that. I'm going to say 21.8 points per game for Cameron Boozer.
That is a big number. And anyway, let's see. Donald, what do you got?
I thought my number was big, but 19.3 is what I got.
I love this. Scott, you got to pick an aggressive, or maybe you don't. You could do whatever you want.
I feel like I'm undercutting it. I was going Cam at 18.5. My comparison is more Vernon Carey than Marvin Bagley, and so I'm going to a better Vernon Carey level. I'm going 18.5.
I'm going to go just under 20 points. I feel like crossing that 20-point threshold is a big deal, and there's a lot of other talent on this team. I was going to go with 19.7 points for Cam Boozer. So I'm boxing myself in here, which
Still pretty high though.
I'm comfortable with. Donald, how many rebounds per game is Cam? Sorry, excuse me. Who's going to lead the team?
Yeah,
in
Cam Boozer.
rebounding this
Yeah, I
season?
got Cam Boozer.
Okay, great. How many rebounds is he going to have?
I'm gonna go with 10.8 per game.
Donald says that Cam Boozer is going to average a double-double.
A double
this
double.
season.
That's correct.
Scott, what do you got?
I'm not quite as optimistic. I've got him at 9 rebounds a game.
I like it. And I am going to take him at 8.1 rebounds per game. And look, Duke's got Pat Gungba, hanging out on the back line with him. Malik Brown presumably gets healthy at some point, and he's going to have a couple of rebounds. So, I got 8.1 for Boozer. Jason?
You guys have lost your minds. Cam Boozer is going to put up a statistical season, the likes of which we have never seen, and I'm including Cooper Flagg in that statement. Cam Boozer is going to average 10.9 rebounds per game.
Wow.
So you just went 0.1 above me. So
I got
no,
you were 10.8?
I was 10.8. Yeah.
Donald's at 10.8. I had it at
Purely
10.3.
accidental, 100%.
Totally.
You know what, Donald, I'll change mine to 11. I want to give us room to tie there.
Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot that you were 10.8.
We have a category coming that a new category that is going to be very interesting on the heels of this set of discussions. All right, how many assists per game? Who's going to lead the team in assists? I am not going to assume that everyone thinks that Cam Boozer is going to lead the team in assists. So Scott, I'm going to let you go first. Who's going to lead the team in assists this season?
I do think Cam Boozer is going to lead a team in assists. I think the one thing we saw during the exhibition games is that this offense is not going to run through the guards. This offense is going to run through the forwards. It's going to run through Cam, Pat, and also Nick Kamenia. I think Cam's going to average 3.5 assists a game.
All right, Donald and Jason, can you nod at me if you both think that Cam Boozer is going to lead this team in assists this season? Donald does not. All right, so we have disagreement. We're still going to take note of the numbers because it may factor into tiebreakers. So I've got Scott at 3.5. Donald, I'm going to let you go next then, just to get your wrong guess out of the way. Who's going to lead the team in assists?
Right last name, wrong first name. I'm going with Caden Boozer.
I think it's a bold selection.
Strongly considered that. I think I really strongly considered that.
I've got Cam Boozer at an even bigger number. I'm gonna say that Cam Boozer is going to lead the team in assists, and he's going to average 4.1 assists per game. I think he's got too many good options. And my biggest takeaway from that Tennessee game is how many ways Cam Boozer is able to make the defense pay for mistakes. And how many times did you guys note in the second half that, wow, Cam Boozer has 6 assists. He definitely could get to 10, and he kept passing the ball to open teammates, and they kept missing shots. So I think they're going to start making those shots, and I think Cam Boozer is going to average 4.1 assists per game. Jason.
I mean, I'm going to box myself in, but the number that I have Cam Boozer, and the number that I put down was 3.9. I think I've just really boxed myself in, but that's sort of right where I think he's going to be. Last year, Cooper Flagg was 4.2, and I don't think Cam is quite going to be Cooper-esque in terms of the assists.
I feel like my understanding of Cam's ceiling as a college player is higher than what I thought Cooper was going to be at this time last season. Like I am nothing but fully impressed, especially with the way that he commanded all the attention down the stretch during these 2 games that were both very exciting. Okay, blocks per game. Anybody not taking Cam Boozer? Raise your hand if you're not. Okay, well, we've got disagreements. Scott and Donald both going with different guys for blocks.
And Jason. I think there's a different name. Mm-hmm.
We're all on Pat, I think.
Everyone's on Gungba. Well, I'm on Cam Boozer, so I'm gonna stand out on Cam Boozer Island. Let's go to Donald. How many blocks do you think Pat Gungba's going to average this season?
I got him at 1.5 per game.
Okay, and Jason?
That's a big number, Donald.
Well,
big number.
it's not considering last year we were talking about like in the twos. I'm thinking he gets a few games where he has multiple blocks, and that's going to up it to about 1.5.
Jason, what do you got?
Last year, Kaman Malawach was 1.3, and that's where I have Pat Gongba this year. He'll average 1.3 blocks per game.
All right, and Scott?
I feel like I'm accidentally the pessimist of the group because I'm going low on everything. I have him at 1.1. I think he's capable of more, but I think it's going to be so hard to keep Malik Brown off the floor that Pat is not going to play the 30 plus minutes per game that we necessarily think he would in order to reach those astronomical numbers, which he very well could if he did.
I think that the Malik Brown factor is interesting for this and certainly for other categories related to Pat Gongba. And that also then trickles down to the rest of the team, because what Pat Gongba brings to this team and what Malik Brown brings to this team, they probably can't be on the floor very much at the same time, and very different players. So we'll have implications not just for this, but for other things. So I like the thematic thinking here from you, Scott. So in that spirit, Scott, why don't you lead us off on the final of the Big Five statistical categories? Who's going to lead the team in steals per game?
Something tells me we're going to be in agreement here that it's going to be Malik Brown. I think that this, again, depends on how much Malik sees the floor. He averaged 1.3 steals per game in just 16 minutes a game last year, which, when you think about it, is astronomical. I think we're going to see Malik at least 20 minutes a game between the 4 and the 5 this year. So I think that number is going to be closer to 1.6 per game.
That is awesome. And I am going to take a contrarian opinion on your Malik Brown optimism. And I'm going to say, even though I recognize that he is the returning leader, I think Caleb Foster's taken a big step this season, and I've got Caleb Foster leading the team in steals. So I don't have a number on it. I guess I can look at Jason and Donald. Are either of you taking Caleb Foster in this category? No.
It's a really good choice. Really good choice, but I'm not taking him.
Are you both taking Malik Brown?
I'm taking Malik Brown.
Okay, Jason's not. Jason's got a third pick here. Jason, I'm going to ask you first then, because this is great content, as they say. What do you got?
So I thought long and hard about Malik Brown. I think Malik Brown probably is the right choice, but I'm going to do something a little bit crazy, a little bit out there. I'm going to say Dame Sarr. And Dame, I don't need to give you the number because I'm the only one picking it, but I think Dame Sarr will lead Duke in steals. I could make a case for Caleb Foster. I could make a case for Malik Brown. I could make a case for Cameron Boozer. So, heck, you could probably make a case for Caden Boozer. If you told me Caden Boozer is going to average 20 plus minutes a game, I'd take Caden Boozer.
And we're going to get to a question. We're going to get to a couple questions later about rotations and minutes and things like that, because I think we said earlier, one of us said earlier, that we feel like we know a lot about this team from the exhibitions, given what high level games they were, but still, I think lots of question marks about rotation, who's ahead of who's getting certain matchups, who's going to get to play down the stretch, partially because Brown was injured this whole time, and Sarr, of course, was coming back from his own injury, and partially because we don't know how things are going to develop. So there is a lot, to me, a lot of open questions beyond Cam Boozer, beyond Isaiah Evans, to me. Who's filling out every other role on this team? It feels like there's a lot of fluidity there. So I don't think this is a bad pick at all. Donald?
I have Malik Brown, and I think since Scott also picked Malik Brown, I think that Malik Brown steals, while you just mentioned, Jason, a bunch of people who could lead this team in steals, I think his steals are going to be called upon a little bit more frequently. Like his defense can be called upon a little bit more frequently. I got him at 2.2 steals per game, which I know is very high, but
that's a big old number.
I think if he plays more minutes, he has more opportunities to get more steals.
And it would be some real crafty veteran stuff to really amp up this type of performance. Is this his final season in college basketball?
Yeah,
it is.
It is.
Yeah,
I don't know anymore.
There might be a new lawsuit out tomorrow that changes everything.
That's the thing. We really don't know how anything works anymore. I don't know how you guys do it. The rules are always changing.
they had that lawsuit where all the JUCOs guys got a year back. I think there's a lawsuit if you played at Syracuse, you get a year back.
It's a
Yeah,
Jim Boeheim exception.
exactly.
Joey Baker
exactly.
still has eligibility that we have to resolve.
Carmelo
think-
Anthony still has eligibility.
Carmelo Anthony definitely still has eligibility. So does Michael Benajay. Or we're just gonna do this. I'm in. Okay,
Names.
Jason, who's gonna lead the team in field goal percentage this season?
I think there are only two choices you can possibly take, and I'm really torn between the two of them. I'm going to go Patrick Gongba.
And just in case, what percentage do you think he's going to shoot from the floor this season?
We'll go 68%.
I love that. I am also going to take Pat Gungba. I'm going to shade below you. I'm going to say he's going to average 65.7% because I feel just the slightest tinge of optimism about the three-point shooting. Just don't go overboard, but just the slightest. Donald?
I also have Pat Gongba. I also, like you, Sam, have it where last year he averaged 73% from two. He averaged 0% from 3-point, but he only took one. I think, as you mentioned, he's going to take more 3-pointers this year. That's going to drop it just a bit. I got him at 66.7, so exactly 2/3 of his shots.
All right. And Scott?
I'm going contrarian here. I think that Pat shooting the three, which we saw during exhibition, is obviously part of his game. The numbers tell us that's going to bring it down. I think it's going to be Malik Brown because
that was my other choice. Yeah.
Malik is not taking shots that he doesn't think he can make. That is his role offensively. And he's not going to score anywhere near as many points as Pat, but he's also only going to be taking good shots in the flow.
And that's always part of the key to this thing, and something that's very interesting, especially as more and more players come in, knowing they need to make threes even from the 5 to make an impact in the NBA. All right.
I'm going to predict that Scott's going to win this category.
It could happen.
That's called
Scott.
hedging one's bets.
Scott, who's going to lead the team in 3-point field goal percentage this season?
I'm going to go a little bit contrarian here as well. I think it's going to be Caleb Foster. And I think that Caleb's role in the offense is going to be shooting open threes. I think he is going to be the 4th or 5th guy on the opposing team's, at least amongst our starters, on the opposing team's scouting report. And that's going to leave him shooting a lot of open threes, which we know he can make. I think that's going to be his role on this offense.
See, and I'm gonna take the next pick. I thought for this category that I was between, I would think the front runner, Isaiah Evans, given that he's the returning leading scorer from last year's team, and Darren Harris, who is going to perhaps take a big step up this year in minutes and an importance on the team, and also someone who I think John Shire really trusts to shoot the ball. But I'm going to stick with Isaiah Evans because I think it's a safe pick, and I feel like he's only going to make progress from where he was last year, which was already being an elite 3-point shooter. Donald?
I'm going to go with Darren Harris, mainly because I think Slim is going to shoot more for volume, and with that comes a downtick in percentage.
All right, Jason, you get the opportunity here to take Caden Boozer and make this a true competition.
Wait, so it's Con Knipple not available? I just want to check. Is Con Knipple available?
Con Knipple is currently filling it up for the Hornets.
He's hitting 57% of his threes so far. Yeah.
What did they posted something about his he had some, I mean, it's the sample size is small, but some great defensive stats for him as well. Like not that I was worried, but his adjustment to the NBA apparently has been great.
So the stat you're thinking of is the field goal percentage of guys that he's within like 3 feet of or something like that, closely guarded field goal percentage. And he's like 7th in the league. Guys are only hitting like 36% of the shots when he's close to them. His mom, friend of the podcast, Cherry was like, oh, look at this. She was very excited about that stat. In terms of who I think is going to, man, this is the 3-point percentage is a really, really tough one. But I am going to go. You said Caden Boozer. I considered that. I'm going to go Dame Sarr. because again, I think that this is a guy sort of like the Caleb Foster pick. I think Dame Sarr is going to mostly only going to take wide open threes, and I think he's going to hit them.
Man, so now that we've picked four different guys for highest 3-point field goal shooting percentage, two different guys for highest field goal percentage, and a different guy to lead the team in scoring, I'm very excited about this next category. How many players are going to lead Duke in scoring in a game at all this season? You've got a lot of dudes that we've mentioned who are going to be impact players. I guess based on that, uh, based on what we've heard so far, I think I'm going to take a fairly conservative view on this. I'm going to say that only five guys are going to lead Duke in scoring this season. I think that's primarily due to the fact that Cam Boozer is going to lead the team in scoring most of the time, and I'm not sure how many of the other guys are going to produce at a volume that'll allow them to outscore Cam Boozer. So I'm going five. Donald, what do you got?
I'm going with four. I think for mainly the reasons you said. Cam's going to commandeer the bulk of them, but I just took a stab in the dark. Slim, Dame, and Pat, I think, will have games where they lead the team in scoring.
All right, Jason?
I also went four. I think you're probably. I don't know who the guys are who get there, but other than Cam, Isaiah, and Pat, I think those three, and I don't know. I don't know.
A fourth.
I think it's
of
only
some
going to be.
sort,
It's
yeah.
only going to be a fourth. There's only going to be one more.
I like it. Scott?
I'm with you, Sam. I'm five. I think this category is a pure randomness, law of large numbers category. Even though Cam is going to be our best player probably every game this year, randomness tells us, and this is, you look back, it's the answer to this question is almost always five or six guys. Because there's almost always a random game where Jordan Goldwire to Jalen Blake's leads us in scoring. I think it would be very odd if it's less than five.
All right.
But I'm staking my claim. This is my boldest pick of the year that I can't wait to be wrong on.
You heard it here.
You can
You
get
heard it here
bolder than
first.
this. This is your first stats game. You have to be bolder than this.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
I got bigger
Sebastian
swings
Wilkins.
to take, apparently.
Sebastian
Yeah.
Wilkins said Scott is going to lead the team in scoring for one game. Sebastian Wilkins. Here we go.
Look, those cupcake games really
Yeah, those
present
are volatile. Yeah.
bizarre opportunities. So you never know. All right, Donald, how many unique starting lineups for Duke this season?
This one I think is a little bit more interesting. It's not going to be like one where it was like what a couple years ago or two. I think we're going to have five. And I think again there's a couple, people who are coming back from injury. There might be a switch or two here and there. And I think after us, we might take a couple hits as, John Shire himself opined. I think there'll be some reactions to that in the lineup in some of those games.
Do you think that among that five, and not that this is specific to the game, so you don't actually have to be right on this, but how much do you think that's going to be driven by injuries, especially knowing that Malik Brown is still hurt, and that Sarr may be dealing with lingering effects from his preseason injury versus, John's evolving take on who actually deserves the starting spots and where the team is at?
I do think there will be a change in the starting lineup that's not injury related, or it's somebody taking over at a position. I think that's going to happen at some point this year. Who it is, I don't know who that will be, but I think competition is going to dictate that somebody will get promoted to the starting.
I mean, we've barely mentioned. I think only Scott so far has mentioned Nick Hemenia, who is definitely going to play an important role on this team, and that's a great example of a guy who you could imagine becoming the third option, and you could also imagine becoming the third guy off the bench for Duke.
Correct.
And any of those outcomes is possible and could lead to greatness for this season. Jason.
I'm going with 7 different starting lineups. This is one of the one of the deeper Duke teams that we've seen in a while, and I think other than Cam Boozer and Patrick Gongba, I'm not certain that there's anybody else who I know for sure, that'll tell you absolutely positively that guy's starting every game that he's healthy for. Even Isaiah Evans, I'm not certain he's starting every game he's healthy for. So that's why I think that 7's my number.
All right. Scott?
Okay, I have to take big swings. I think you guys are freaking insane on this point. I think that John Shire has shown over his 3 years that he might tinker with minutes, but he likes playing with a set starting lineup. He has fairly consistently over 3 seasons only manipulated the starting lineup for a major change, which was Sion going in for Caleb last year. But otherwise, it's primarily been injuries that have changed his starting lineup. I think we're going to see three. That's the number that it's been around for John Shire's first 3 years. I think that we might see a switch between Nick Kamenia and either Darren Harris or Dame Sarr at some point in the year, and I think we will have an injury starting lineup. I don't think that reflects anything on the minutes distribution. I think that's just a purely John Shire coaching style. He seems to like to have a continuous starting lineup to play with.
I think with that lineup last year, that was set in stone basically from early December. I think we still ended up with 4 or 5 because of the injuries to.
Yeah.
Was
Only
it 3
three.
because we had the injury to Tyrese Proctor, we had the injuries to Malik Brown.
But that didn't. Malik Brown injuries didn't change starting lineup.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's true. Yeah.
Scott, you and I were on the exact same page on this. I think that there are a few things that John Shire has notably deviated from Mike Krzyzewski on when it comes to the way he's, deploying all the talent on his team. But Mike Krzyzewski also and I don't know how many words we've spent on this podcast or how many minutes we've spent on, wondering about how Coach K is going to trim the lineup this year and how he's going to, trim the rotation and give his favorite players more minutes, but committed to the starting lineup. I think that is one thing that Shire's taking with him. I don't think that Shire believes quite in as much as, find my starting 5 and ride him as hard as I can, the way that Coach K did. But as far as who the starters are and who's going to be getting the big minutes at the end of the game, John is committed to that. So I also had 3 as my guess for this. Jason, I'm coming to you next. This is my favorite new category. No, well, sort of new category. We change up some of the individual player categories every season, but I'm glad that you're up in the rotation for first guess on this one because you had the most aggressive pick on, at least on Cam Boozer's rebounds per game. I told you that I was excited that Cam Boozer might have had a triple-double against Tennessee. So how many triple-doubles is Cam Boozer going to have this season?
The answer is 0. 10 assists is just a lot, especially because he is the guy who takes most of the shots. So, yeah, I don't think no one on Duke's getting a triple-double this year, Cam Boozer included.
Scott?
I'm going 1 just because, again, there will be that one game against a cupcake that he goes absolutely bonkers. We've seen he has that in him. But anything more than that would be, you're saying he's going to have one of the greatest seasons in the college basketball history, which he very well may. But even above that, so 1.
I'm gonna take the Donald Wine patented over exuberance on this category. I think Cam Boozer's gonna have 3 triple-doubles this season for Duke. 3.
You might as well give him the Naismith Award then, now, if that happens.
I'm telling you from what I was watching. Look, I'm the dumb one here, as we have established.
Wow.
From what I was watching the other day, especially against Tennessee, and the attention that Boozer commands and the number of weapons that Duke has this season, I feel like it's going to happen a couple times, and I feel like it'll happen at least again, given that I picked it 3 times, it'll happen against one real opponent. Because I think there are some teams that just won't be equipped. They won't have a guy that has the size to get in Cam Boozer's way. They'll throw stuff in the paint for him, and he'll be able to dish more passes out in that game. And so I've got 3. There's my boldest prediction of the season. Donald, what do you got?
I got 2. So someone's going to win this category.
Holy shit. I mean, guys, a triple-double is just really hard to do at the college level.
They're really hard.
They are really hard, but
that
doesn't mean they're impossible. We've seen them happen.
We're going to raise the number of triple-doubles in Duke history by approximately 50% this season.
How many have there been?
60%. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
We'd have to. It's just insane.
I should be able to do that, man. Yeah.
You've lost your minds.
How many have there been?
5? Yeah.
And are they all, what, are they all Danny Ferry or something?
No, Wendell Moore did it.
Wendell Moore.
Oh yeah, Wendell Moore did it.
Yeah. Cooper Flagg never did this, guys.
I think
I know, and I told you, I feel more optimistic about Cam Boozer right now than I did about Cooper Flagg last year. I
It's gonna be
there
fun.
there is something about it. And granted, like, the college basketball watching world will be totally sick of him by Christmas, especially because they're going to be talking about Carlos Boozer all the time. And I don't get the sense that Carlos Boozer was like every non-Duke fan's favorite Duke player.
If
Um,
he's averaging a double double and gets Sam numbers of triple doubles, Boozer will be in the rafters.
he
I'll just
might
say
have to
that.
be. He
I'll
might
just say
like.
that.
What are we? I mean, granted, we've had how many guys come through, play one season, win National Player of the Year, do things we've never seen before, and and move on. But man, I think the sky's the limit for this kid. So that's where I'm at. All right,
I'll just say thank you for the point, gentlemen. Thank you for the point.
always. That's what I'm here for, baby.
I thought I was going to be out on the limb saying one, so I feel a lot better now.
Scott, how many games is Nick Amenia going to start this season?
Off of my logic I used earlier, I think he's going to start most of the year. I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me in the Tennessee game was the fact that Nick Amenia was our default point guard. He was the one at the top of the key initiating the offense. It didn't come out in his assist numbers, but he was the one doing that point guard, make the first pass to start the offense roll, which means John Shire needs him in the game. I think it's going to be 25.
All right, 20, which to me feels like sort of a hedge on like, like I said, I don't know if he's going to be the third option on this team, and I don't know if he's going to end up being second off the bench because I feel like I know Shire is going to decide on a lineup, and I don't know where Himeni is going to end up on that. And I don't say that to slight him because he could end up being a great player for us, but there's just so many options. Donald,
I'm sorry, you broke up. Did you say you had 20?
I had 20.
Okay, so I have 22. I think in the lines of you just a little bit. I'm expecting us to play 40 games, right? If you want to win a national championship, you want to play 40 games. I think a little over half than that. So 22.
Jason?
So I love Nick Himenia, but I think that Dame Sarr is going to find his way into the starting lineup. And so I think Himenia is 18 for his starts. Around midseason, Dame Sarr is going to move into that starting lineup and you're going to have trouble replacing him.
I like how we ended up bunching up on this between 18 and 25. Like everyone thinks there's a lot of starts in there, but nobody thinks he's going to start every game. So
yeah,
means I picked a good category. So that makes me happy. All right. I'm gonna take this one first. How many times is Caleb Foster going to lead the team in scoring this season? And this is one where we were talking earlier about how many guys are going to lead the team in scoring. Caleb Foster feels like just like he's on the edge of that. Like he's capable of leading the team in scoring. He can certainly score. I don't know how many times it's going to happen for him this season. So I've got Foster leading the team in scoring 3 times this season. Donald?
0.
Jason?
0.
And Scott?
1.
Okay. Cool. That's a good one.
I mean, I love Cephas. I think that this season he is going to be a defensive stopper. And if you look at the first 2 exhibition games against Power 5 opponents, against the kind of teams we're playing, he didn't shoot very much. He didn't score very much at all. Yeah, I just don't. I think it's gonna be tough, especially because I can't imagine that Cam and Isaiah aren't getting, 16 to 25 points every damn game.
Oh, I also just think, just look at the game against what was it, UCF, where Slim had 22 points and was second, right? Like there's going to be games where someone's going to go off for a bunch of points and is going to come in second to Cam. So I think there's going to be some unluckiness on his side in one or two of those games.
But we keep forgetting that the ACC is there. There are still more cupcakes in the ACC schedule than we would like to admit. There are going to be games that we're up huge and Cam only plays 25 minutes because we're up 25, 30 points.
Caleb Foster will not be a guy getting extra minutes in those games. Caden Boozer will be getting the minutes in those games.
True.
I actually think it's coming from the flip side where Caleb Foster is the most experienced player on Duke's team this season, despite the challenges, of course, that he had last season. And so there's an element of veteran presence that I think will enable him to take over a couple of games where things aren't working. Because as good as we think Cam Boozer is going to be, he's still a freshman. And as good as Isaiah Evans, I think, is going to be this season, I'm very high on him. He still was. It would be wrong to describe him as mercurial, but certainly someone who could get in his head a little bit last season in games where he wasn't performing well or where the crowd was getting to him. He's an emotional player, perhaps. All right, guys, I think we're about halfway through. Let's take a quick break, a little sponsor message, and we'll come back and we'll finish off the stats game. Sound good?
Sounds good.
We will be right back after this. All right, we are through 12 categories. I have 13 more, and I have a secret bonus round that I may have decided what the category is, and I may not. You won't know, and I won't know until we get there. So, with that, Donald, what will Isaiah Evans' three-point shooting percentage be this season?
I think he's going to, because of volume, he's going to hit more threes but sacrifice percentage. So I have him at 38.5%.
Okay, pretty pessimistic relative to his performance last season, but you justified it, so I'll let you be. Jason?
He was right. I think he's gonna be right where he was a year ago. Last season he was at 41%, I believe the number 41.6, and I'm going to go ahead and say just a touch below that, exactly 41% for Isaiah Evans this year.
Scott?
I think that we've already seen that Isaiah Evans is going to let it fly, and John Shire is okay with him letting it fly. I think that means law of large numbers as things are going to weigh down. I've got him at 40%.
All right. I picked him to lead the team in scoring, so I have to pick a big number here. I think his percentage is going to go up. I think his confidence and his familiarity with college basketball is going to help him in this regard, even though he'll be getting more attention. I think by the time we got to ACC season last year, he was getting plenty of attention. So I've got 42.5. I think he's going to have a huge season.
Sam, you did not pick him to lead the team in scoring. You picked Cam
in
Boozer.
three-point field goal percentage.
Oh, okay. Okay.
In this category. So
yeah,
so
sorry,
I better pick a big number.
You said scoring, and I was like, you didn't pick him to lead the team in scoring. Although
That's
it would
right.
have been, it's not unreasonable to pick him to lead the team in scoring.
There is a world where it happens. I don't think it's likely, but I do think he's got the goods to put up a big 3-point percentage. I mean, we know he's going to do that. It's just a matter of degrees here. So, Jason, I have a tricky one for you. And I'm glad that you're going first in this one because I want you to pick this one apart. Which of the following players is going to start the most number of games for Duke this season? Caden Boozer, Malik Brown, Dame Sarr, and Darren Harris.
Jesus. This was a really, really tough one. I'm higher on Dame, I think, than other people maybe at this point. So I'm saying Dame Sarr, but man, I can make a case for a lot of those. But just put me down for Dame Sarr. But yeah, all four of those guys going to play a huge role. This is going to be the deepest Duke team we've ever seen.
All right, Scott, what do you got?
If I'm sticking with my logic of the episode, I'm going with not who I think is going to play the most minutes, but who's going to have to fill in for an injury. And I think the answer is Malik Brown. I think the most likely scenario of our starting lineup changing is Pat Ngongba misses a few games because he's down with an ankle or an inflamed knee. So I'm going with Malik. I also think it's not out of the question that we see lineups with Cam, Malik, and Pat on the floor at the same time. I'm not sure if that's going to be a starting lineup, but hedging my bets, that would not surprise me if that is something we see more often than we expect this year.
Well, Scott, I was going to say that I actually think I feel pretty good about Malik being like the sixth man, and I think it's very possible because of the versatility of both Malik and Cam that John Shire just sort of goes, okay, well, whoever was missing, I can plug Malik in there. So that's not a bad choice.
I agree with that logic, and I also had Malik Brown in this. The other factor in this is that if we talk about, reaching a crossroads in the season, something has gone wrong, etc. Malik Brown is the I said that Caleb Foster's the veteran presence that's probably going to play the most minutes. Malik Brown is the wisest head on this team. And if John Shire feels like he really needs to send a message, Malik Brown is starting that night. So I also had Malik Brown in this category. Donald?
I have Caden Boozer.
I'm so glad you picked this because I think he was my second pick, even though I appreciated Jason's pick of Dame Sar. But tell me about Caden Boozer.
I mentioned when we talked about unique lineups that there might be a big change throughout the year, and a lot of people are focusing on, the wing position. I think it might be at the point guard position.
I mean, that's what happened a year ago.
All right,
Just saying.
I am making a change to the game here live because I realized that I asked you guys to predict Pat Gungba blocks per game. And then we got a bunch of guesses for that in who's going to lead the team in blocks per game. So I'm officially changing this on the fly, and you get to guess live right along with me because I haven't thought about it at all either, except during this preamble. So Scott, welcome to the DBR podcast stats game. How many 3-pointers is Pat Gungba going to hit this season?
Oh, see, I thought this was going to be a question. I've been thinking a lot about this. I still think we're not going to see Pat shoot more than 1 or 2 threes a game. As much as that seems to be part of his game, I think that we have just seen that fives in John Shire's offense don't shoot a heck of a lot of threes. I think we're going to see him make 15 threes. I think he'll make one every 2 games or so.
See, and to me, that even seems aggressive.
I think so too. As I was saying, and I thought that was high, but I'm going with my gut here.
I think the whole thing's a fake. I'm going to say that he makes 4 threes this season, and they're all Marshall Plumlee threes. So to shout out my favorite 3-point shooter in Duke history, Marshall Plumlee.
And the best one.
The best 3-point shooter in Duke history. Just ask him. He mentions it from time
one
to time.
for one, 100%.
Exactly. Donald?
I have 8 because I think that while he's going to get opportunities to shoot threes, he doesn't have to take threes. The way the offense has been working is not like we're counting on him to be out on the 3-point line to shoot threes. He's going to get a couple opportunities. But I think we're going to need him more in the post, and I think he's going to live in the post a little bit more. So I got 8.
Jason?
Do you guys know that last year, Sion James, who played heavy minutes and his only role was to shoot 3-pointers, only made 31 threes on the season?
I understand how this works.
Yeah. So call me crazy. 25, baby. I think yes. I think
that was a expert level fake out, sir. Well done.
I knew he's been talking about Gungba shooting threes all preseason. Like I was ready for that.
Pat is stepping out. Duke is going to play 5 out. Pat's going to attempt on the season, I think, approximately like 2.2 to 2.5 per game. And he's going to hit better than a third of them. I think he'll be around 38 or so percent. And he's making easily 20 plus. I'm going 25.
Jason, let me follow up my question just for you.
Have you lost your mind? No, I have not.
No. I was going to ask, what position do you think Pat Gungba was going to get drafted this season? If he makes 25 threes this year, he has to be a top 10 pick, right?
No.
He has to be.
Because a lot of what he does is stuff the NBA does not value. I'd like to.
But what if he makes 25 threes?
Derek Queen was the same type of guy, and he was barely a top 20 pick. So I think I'm with Jason here. I think he could have that good of a year and still be a fringe first round pick just based off of the way the NBA works.
All right. We will see. All right. Next category. This is a fun one and a new one. How many times is a Duke player going to win ACC Player of the Week? This is not including freshmen or defensive teams, anything like that. ACC Player of the Week for Duke. I think last season, Cooper Flagg alone, I think, won this award like 6 times or so.
5 times.
5 times. How many total, Donald?
18.
How many Duke players total?
5. Or I'm sorry, how many you mean for this year?
Yeah, no. For last season, Flag won it 5 times. Were there any other Duke players that won it last year?
Not
No.
ACC, but for Rookie of the Week, he won it 12 times, and kind of Knipple won. Actually won the
And then
first one.
Continental won all the other ones. And come on,
No,
Maloef won one.
he won the very first week, and then Cooper Flag. Basically, we have to rename it the Cooper Flag Award because he won 12 times.
All right, so 5 times last year. I'm gonna take a more aggressive number this season than we had last season. I'm gonna say that Duke players win ACC Player of the Week 7 times this year. Donald, what do you got?
I had 8. I thought I was going to be a little bit more aggressive too, so I have 8.
Jason?
The ACC is a big old conference, and the folks who vote on these awards get sick of the same person constantly winning it. I'm going 5 again.
All right, Scott?
I'm using the Cooper Flag principle. I'm going to stick with 6.
I like it. All right. Somehow this one's come back around to Donald. It's the Donald. It's the official Donald Wine category. Donald, how many times is Duke going to score 100 points this season?
10. No, not 10. I'm going 1. I think we'll get 1 in there.
Jason, I know you're going to bring the analysis on it. Tell me about which games this is going to happen in.
I'm not going to tell you which games it's going to happen in, but I'm going to tell you that this Duke team is going to shoot more three-pointers than just about any Duke team we've ever seen. And when you get hot, because there'll be games where they hit 40, 45, even 50% from 3, points add up faster. This Duke team will hit 100 points 3 times this year.
I love it. Scott?
I agree with everything Jason said, except for the historical fact that John Shire and Coach K teams take their foot off the gas when games are out of reach. I think we'll have 1. I think any more would just be way out of character for a John Shire coach team.
I'll split the difference and say 2 just to be fun. And also because I had it on my sheet before we got started. All right, Jason, how many total points are the walk-ons going to score this season? And I'll let you remind the folks which players we're officially including in this walk-on tally.
Yes, this will be, even though they are not walk-ons, all 3 of these guys are on scholarship. Jack Scott, Ife Ifuchukwu, and Cameron Sheffield are the guys that we're counting in this category. I'm going to go with these guys because they played elsewhere. I think these guys they're better than the usual walk-on fodder. No offense to the outstanding practice players who have played at Duke over the years. I'm going to go that those 3 guys combined to score 11 total points this year.
You do remember how many points the walk-on scored last season?
I didn't look at the exact number, but I'm sure it was a pretty big number because all by himself, Spencer Hubbard was like in double digits.
It was 25. So your number's not that big on a historical basis. Scott, what do you got here?
I was trending low as well because I think that there's not going to be a Spencer Hubbard style shoot Spencer shoot guy on this team. But the number was 25 last year. It's not going to be that much lower. I'm going to go 12.
I like it. I'm in the same kind of ballpark as you. Same thinking at least as you. I had 14 with sort of Jason's thinking about all these guys that we're talking about here have experience playing at other schools. They're not going to get the minutes here, but I also feel pretty confident that Duke is going to be quite awesome this season. And so the minutes will be there the way that they were for Spencer Hubbard last year. Donald, I feel like you are in the bag for a big number. Is that right?
That is incorrect. I am sandwiched in between all of you. I have 13.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. It's fun. It's fun when we cluster like this because it means that something's happening, but it also could mean that
we're going to be so wrong on this. It's going to be hilarious.
Who's gonna? All right, so in the spirit of that, Scott, who among the walk-ons is going to outscore all of our predictions?
I could see Iffy getting a bunch of garbage time putback dunks, and Cameron goes crazy. I could see that being a semi-regular occurrence.
I think that would be fun. All right, Scott, I'm coming back to you. This is our how deep is the bench question that we've asked every season. How many players are going to log over 300 minutes for Duke this year?
I think that we have to look to recent history. I think last year that number was 9, and that was accounting for Malik Brown's injury, and essentially that, Pat just got above that number. I think I'm going with 9 this year again. I think that Sebastian will be the only guy who doesn't get it. I think we will have a guy or two that we're surprised by who just exceeds that 300 number. But I still think the 9 guys we think of as being in the main rotation will get above that just by virtue of garbage time minutes and whatnot.
I also had 9, and I almost guessed 8. I'm curious to see if Jason or Donald goes with 8, or if they go with 10. But I think that 8 or 9, one of those is the right answer here. The only reason I was thinking that 8 could be right is that I actually think that despite the obvious depth on this team, John Shire is going to continue maturing as a coach and realizing that he actually has more of the Coach K DNA than he wants to admit, and he's going to trim the lineup.
I will
So
say I misspoke. It was 10 last year. Darren was the guy, the only main scholarship guy of the 11 who didn't get the 300.
So there you go. So I'm going with 9. You could talk me into 8. So Donald, what do you got?
I also had 9.
Jason?
Yep, mark me down for 9. And I think that this is, as I've said, this is going to be a very, very deep Duke team. So I see all 9 of those guys pretty comfortably getting past 300 minutes.
All right. Ken Pom defensive rank on the day of the selection show. This is one of my favorite categories to guess here. And last year, Duke was excellent. I think they were 4 at 5 at the end of the season. And one of the certainly John Shire's best defensive team. I think that all they're going to do is learn from that experience, even though we're missing some key defensive players in Con Knipple and Sion James and Cooper Flagg. But I think that some of these guys coming in are going to pick up right where they left off. Cam Boozer, I think, is going to be great on defense. Dame Sarr is going to be great on defense. Nick Ameni, I think, is going to be very productive on defense. So I've got Duke right at 4 on Selection Sunday as their Ken Pom defensive rank. Donald?
3.
Yes. Jason?
This team has some really, really great defenders, but man, it's tough to get that high up there. I've got us at number 7.
Scott?
I'm pessimistic here. I think that as good as a defensive team as we will be, there is no Cooper Flagg, there is no Kaman Malwach on this team. I think that 10 is still a very, very good defensive team, a good enough defensive team for this team to get where it wants to be in March. But I think that you can't overlook what we lost from last year.
All right. Donald, you're up. How many road wins is Duke going to have this season?
So there are 11 road games, 11 true road games, 9 in the conference, and then you have at Army and at Michigan State. I think we win 9 of them.
I think it's a solid pick. Jason?
Yeah, I also went with 9. I think this Duke team's gonna be really, really good.
Scott?
So as I was calculating this, I was saying we will probably lose one of the games at NC State or at Virginia Tech because those are our house of horrors. If we somehow win both of those on the road, I'll be ecstatic. I think there will be one what the heck just happened road loss because there always is. And then I think if we played a numbers game, the numbers say it's going to be hard to beat both Michigan State and UNC on the road. As high as I am on this team, I think the number's 3.
Three
Loses.
losses.
We lose 3. Sorry, we lose
Okay.
3 road games. So
Yeah,
8 wins. Sorry.
You and I did the same math, so we ended up at 8. If it's 3, we're having a different conversation. So I'm surprised that Donald didn't go higher because Donald's always the 40-0, running away with this thing guy. So
We play at Louisville. What are we even what are we doing? We're playing at Louisville.
we'll see.
On the
man.
other hand, we just won at Tennessee.
The honest truth is, I was trending a little bit downward just because the number of games that they're going to face in neutral sites and on the road. I thought that was going to kind of we were gonna have a lull, and then I saw that Tennessee game and I was like, nope, just kidding. I think we're going to be all right.
They're going to be fun. I don't know how you can grow up the son of an NBA player and have as much of a chip on your shoulder as it appears Cam Boozer has. But maybe
Yeah.
that's because his dad is Carlos Boozer and not just any NBA player. So it's a unique DNA thing that's going on in there that enables that kind of attitude. So I like it. All right. We're coming up on one of our favorite categories here. Jason, how many 10-5-5 games are we going to see from Duke this season?
The Wendell Moore Memorial category. Well,
Wendell Moore Memorial category. Wendell Moore's still alive.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry. The Wendell Moore honorable category. Yeah. So seeing as I would right now, if you asked me to, I would make a wager that Cam Boozer will have 10 points and 5 rebounds in every single game this year. I'm really just guessing how often he will have 5 assists and if there will be anyone else who will have a 10-5-5 game. And I think that both those things will happen. And I'm going to go with, it's a big number, 11 10-5-5 games for Duke.
It's fewer than we had last season because Cooper Flagg was also a machine for this.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
All right, Scott, what do you got?
I'm with you, Jason. I think that we saw one already against a really good Tennessee team. There's no reason to think we're not going to keep having some. I think there will be a couple stealth ones. I think Nick Kamenia will have a 10-5-5 game this year. I think Pat Gongba will have a 10-5-5 game this year.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm going to go
with blocks or assists?
with assists. I think the offense is going to run through Duke's forwards this year. I'm going to go one above you, Jason, just because I'm going to go 12.
Well, I think Cam Boozer's going to have 3 triple doubles, so I've got 16. So,
The
Donald,
do those count as double 10-5-5 games?
no. They're saying if he gets if he gets a 20-10-10, I don't know. Do you get to count it as two?
No,
No, because
what if he does one in each half?
I'm about to say Cooper had a bunch of 35 or 30, 15 and fives and stuff like that. So
As I recall, I don't have the number in front of me, but as I recall, the number for Cooper was over 15 last season. And I didn't actually count the total. I just gave it to whoever had the biggest number because I was like, I'm not going to go back and figure all these out. So Donald, what do you got?
20.
What?
20.
Wow.
I said what I said.
It's on my sheet. It's over.
Because like you said, there's a bunch of guys who are capable of getting a couple, and then you have Cam. It's just a matter of how many times does Cam get 5 assists or 5 blocks, because he could do that too. And the answer is that's going to happen quite a bit. And so when you add to the fact that a Nick Kamidia or a Dame Sarr or a Pat or a Malik, there are guys who can get or are capable of getting 10-5-5. So I'm going to put 20.
Donald,
Prove me wrong, guys.
You're the highest one on Caden. Do you think Caden gets a 10-5-5 this year?
I do, because he is a good rebounder, and I think that there is a couple of games where he's going to get 5 rebounds and 5 assists. I'm not saying he's going to get double doubles or anything like that, but we have a bunch of stat stuffers on this team. I think that's the real question here.
Donald thinks that Caden Boozer's not coming back next season.
Yo, by the way, there's a real chance if Caden Boozer gets playing time, there's a real chance he gets 5 steals. That guy's very crafty on defense.
Well, I'm saying,
lot of talent on this team.
Now my number's not looking so high, huh?
All right, Scott, how many wins is Duke going to accumulate this season?
So I said we're going to lose 3 road games. I will never pencil us down for a lost home game. That's not in my DNA. But you have to imagine we will lose at least one other neutral site game on our gauntlet of a non-conference schedule. So I think that puts us regular season upper realm is 26. Then 26 out of 30 regular season games. Then we have 3 in the ACC tournament. Then we hopefully have 6 in the NCAA tournament. I think we go 25-5 in the regular season, and I think we have a really good March. So I think the number is going to be 34.
All right. I think I have most of your optimism, but I do this every season. I feel like I've done this every season because every year I come to the same conclusion almost now for I don't know how many years that Duke has so much potential. We probably are going to have a deep tournament run, but there's still a lot of youth on the team. Mistakes happen. Losses in Cameron can happen with a great team, even as good as I think this team is going to be. So I'm going to shade a little under you, and I'm going to say that Duke is winning 33 games this season. Donald.
I also have 34.
Jason, go big.
Last year's Duke team won 35 games and did not win the last game of the regular season of the NCAA tournament. But man,
The last two games.
Yeah, the right, exactly. It's just the schedule's too much. I mean, like, God, we're hosting Florida. We're at Arkansas, Texas Tech on a neutral floor. I mean, these are really sorry, not at Arkansas. We're Arkansas neutral. These are really tough non-conference games. If you're telling me if Duke only loses 2 non-conference games, that would be outrageous.
Sounds like bad news for all those teams, what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. I'm also going 33. It's and I look forward to being I hope to be wrong. I really hope to be wrong.
In the right direction.
Yes, correct.
Also, can we just pause and appreciate how lucky we are that your guess that Duke will win 33 games is the somewhat pessimistic take on our season right now?
Yeah, you said all of that to be like
How
one below
spoiled are
Scott
we?
and I.
It's terrible. And by the way, I had another thought, but it's unrelated enough that I'm going to skip it. But Scott, I'm totally with you. We're so beyond spoiled when it comes to this stuff, and you know the loss to Georgia Tech aside from last week, the football team is also like generally trending in the right direction. So it's not even like we have the like
the women's team is trending up with a bullet right now too.
Yeah,
the way we're recruiting.
It's a great time.
It's good to be the Duke. It's good to be the Duke.
All right. I've got a category that once upon a time was fun and now is just a sad reminder of where we are, which is in the ACC. How many teams from the ACC are going to make the tournament this year? I've got 5, and I don't even know if I feel confident about that. So, Donald, what do you got?
I'm being very optimistic here, and I'm saying 6, but I also am not very confident in it.
Jason?
Yeah, I also went with 6. This conference, yeah.
If we can't get a third of the teams in, then like the ACC needs to have some tribunals or something. Like,
Jason, what do you think this is just in perpetuity now? Like, as long as the conferences are shaped the way they are, is this just where the ACC is stuck as like a, not a tier 1, but like a tier 1A conference forever?
I mean, forever's an awful long time.
As long as they're
ACC may not exist forever at this rate. Let's be serious.
So I think we're stuck because there are a number of teams in this conference that don't have the resources to buy the right kind of roster, and as a result, and the other problem is like the Big 12 at least has sort of said, you know what, we're going all in on basketball, and they're maybe not spending as much on football. I obviously the SEC and the Big Ten are on a different level than everybody else. But yeah, I just think the ACC, there are too many schools where I can't figure out how they get the money to be good at basketball.
I'll make it simpler. The ACC is stuck in this rut because the SEC and Big Ten have better negotiators. Simple as that. Like there's no world where 13 out of or 14 out of 16 make from a conference are that good to be better than 12 people in the ACC. It just, again, we need better negotiators, we need better sound bites, and we need better results.
So just to give my pick before we forget, I'm with Sam. I'm at 5. I think the narrative is a big factor here. I think it's going to be hard for the ACC to get 6 no matter how well we perform, just based on what ESPN is going to be pumping out every day. I also think we forget that 3 of the top 4 teams in the conference, projected top teams in the conference, Louisville, North Carolina, and NC State, are almost entirely transfer based. And there's always one of those teams that crashes and burns at the level of does not make the tournament. So I think that projecting any number higher than that is assuming all three of those teams lift up the expectations, and I think that's a risky proposition.
All right. I've got one more category for you guys. This is a new, somewhat curveball category, and it means that we'll have to delay the stats game recap by a few days relative to when we normally do this. But Donald, tell me, how many Duke players are going to announce that they are entering the transfer portal within 1 week of the season ending?
So within 1 week of our final game, whenever
Of Duke's final
that
game.
may be. I have one.
All right.
I don't know who it is, but I just have
I don't.
one.
Yeah, I almost don't want to guess what the numbers go, or who the people are going to be, but I am curious about this. The reason that I asked is that Duke didn't have anybody leave last season. And with all the talk about the transfer portal and NIL and all the changes in college basketball, Duke had a lot of guys leave for the pros. They brought in a couple of transfers. Nobody that's like at the top of the rotation or anything. But if you just looked at that in isolation, yeah.
But technically, we had Stanley Borden enter the portal, and I believe it was within a week after. So that's why I'm going with one. There's going to be
So
some
that,
random.
I guess that does count, even though it's not, I'll have to give you that point for it. But generally speaking, Duke, less affected by the transfer portal than most other programs. Jason, who do you got here?
I think the number is 0. I think your flaw is saying 1 week. I think that generally these decisions don't come that quickly after the season is over. My understanding from people close to the team and from players and the such that I've spoken to is that there is a whole process that John Shire asked these guys to go through after the season. They all talk. They talk to him. They talk to their agents and other folks like that. I'm not saying no one from Duke is going in the portal, but it won't happen in the first week.
Scott?
I'm with you on that, Jason. I think that there will probably be a Duke player in the portal at some point, but we have seen that more than arguably any other coach, John Shire sells guys on his plan for them, and he sells them on a multi-year plan for them if that is indeed the case. I think that it would take a pretty big deviation in that plan to get someone to transfer, and typically that's a decision that takes a little longer than a week to have happen.
And you're saying that that's even assuming that the multi-year plan includes, like, it's a development plan, but it's also an NIL plan.
Yeah, I think that for what we've seen so far for Duke guys to leave, that means something in that multi-year development plan to get them to the NBA, because everyone who comes to Duke thinks that they're going to go to the NBA. That's the reality. Something has gone awry, and that is something that requires enough conversation, like Jason said. That is not a snap, get in the portal and get paid right away type of decision.
I've got one because as much as I like to believe in that, I feel like the roulette wheel comes back around on Duke this season, and it is even as good as I think John Shire is at keeping people happy in spite of being in a really competitive environment. I think that your luck runs out at some point on that, and so someone is going to announce that they're transferring at the end of the season. Like Donald, I'm not going to guess who it is, but I just feel like the cards have to turn down for Duke at some point. All right, I came up with a bonus category. I came up with it a few minutes ago. I hadn't thought about it until just now, but I think you guys are going to like it. So, Jason, I'm going to let you go first. I feel like you'll particularly enjoy this category.
Hey, Debbie.
What will be Bill Belichick's last day as the UNC head football coach?
Oh my God. I'm going to go with December 18th of 2026.
Okay. I like it. Tell
So
me.
how do you win that? How do you win that?
Closest to the pin.
No, I just mean
that's
like
the tiebreaker. We're going to be waiting a few years.
Well, I was sort of thinking it's going to happen before that. So, Donald, what's your guess? We can revisit this.
So my birthday is November 30th. I'll just welcome. And so for my birthday, which is the day after the final regular season game, I'm gonna put them on my birthday. Give me a good birthday gift, UNC, for once in your life. Fire 'em on
Of
my
this
birthday.
year.
Yes, of this year.
Scott?
I think it's going to be next year, like Jason. I think it'll be midway through next year. I think it'll be a James Franklin, Brian Kelly style. We have to do something. But next season, I think it's too embarrassing to cut their losses so far. I think it'll be, let's say October 20th of 2026.
I hadn't picked a date yet, but I had a general feeling that it will be at the end of the season. I'm going to go post Donald. I'm going to get into January where the guys are all going to come back from break and they're going to realize that like things are still weird and UNC is going to be like, we know the timing is terrible, but we have to end this now because it's so not working. So I'm going January 15th. I can't really justify this in too much detail, but January 15th, 2026, and UNC is going to be out looking for a coach again at entirely the wrong time because of how badly they've flubbed this situation.
So
Well,
I
I
guess
think the other
Jason and I win the tiebreaker if Bill Belichick is still UNC's coach at the end of basketball season.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah.
I also think one, they won't be looking for a new coach. I think that's the idea, is that the way that this thing works is the minute that Bill Belichick leaves, his son takes over and they already have a 3-year deal in place for him. I just think that something is going to happen that blows all of it up. That's what I think.
I haven't gotten to talk to you guys about it, but I at the risk of angering the spirits here, boy, I love the Bill Belichick story. It's just
I just say, let it happen. Let it all happen.
it's awesome.
Long enough, man. We got to wrap this up.
Okay, fine. Thank you all for joining us. Stats Game 2025-2026 season. I don't know how many years we've been doing this. 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Amazing. Incredible. And I keep coming back for more, even though I lose every time. I love it too much. For Jason Evans, for Donald Wine, for Scott Rich, my first time podcasting with that guy, which is cool. I'm Sam Klein. I'll see you guys again. I don't know when, but I'll be back. I'm never too far. Duke Band, take us home.